Good afternoon. I'm Sister Judy Stevens. During this past year, St. Joseph Ministry Fund approved a grant to the Central Santa Catalina Women's Cooperative to provide snacks and breakfast for children that they serve in Juarez, Mexico, for about 140 students. Some come for the pre-kindergarten and kindergarten program, and then students come after school for working with tutors in their after-school program. They have computers and a library. It's all set up. I want to tell you a little bit about Centro Santa Catalina. It's a cooperative for women. It was started by the Dominican Sisters of Peace about 22 years ago. In the beginning, the Dominican Sisters were the directors, and although they lived in El Paso, they would cross into Juarez and work at the cooperative. The buildings where the cooperative is situated are nice buildings and a large chapel built on top of the old city dump in Juarez. And it's clear on the west edge of Juarez, next to a mountain where I believe the Cristo Rey Mountain is very close. The cooperative has grown gradually over the years. They have a great board of people, and some we happen to know personally. The women who come to the cooperative, there's time for prayer, time for education, and always training and leadership. The director, as I said, was always a Dominican sister until recently. They decided to move the 501c status of the cooperative from the United States to Mexico, and that was quite an adventure. So now there's a wonderful woman named Rosa who is from Juarez, who is the director. She's very, very talented. One of the most exciting parts of the cooperative is the sewing co-op. There are about 30 women who, when you come into the room, they are all at sewing machines doing different pieces of the work. And then after they have made the tablecloths, the napkins, the shawls, the over-the-shoulder bags, the phone carrying bags, all kinds of artisania, the Dominican Sisters will bring that into the United States and market it. And then all of the money goes back to these 30 women. And they're getting about an average of $160 a piece for the work that they have done every month, which is a great help for their lives. If they were working in one of the factories there, it would be much, much less. So I'm going to show you some of the pieces. This is one of my very favorite. And we watched women do the tasseling at the end and sewing the seams. This is another very wide runner that I like very much. Every year for the border experience, when it was safe to go into Juarez, we would visit the co-op. And one year when we went, they were making thousands of these stoles to use for different religious events. And the person who had ordered them was a priest giving a workshop in Albuquerque, Father Richard Rohr, and he had requested many of them. So the women of the cooperative are very grateful for the grant that they have received. They've received grants other years also. This group, the people in the board write the requests for grants, and they approach other foundations and congregations for help as well as ours. So thank you very much.
I'm Faye Belsman, and this is Sister Pat. I guess that's not good stuff. Almost 40 years ago, Pat and myself decided that one of the things that was lacking for the general population was was mental health counseling that would be affordable to anyone who really needed, and not just to those who could afford the prices of mental health counseling. And so we received money from the very beginning from the foundation, and started CEC, which stands for the Counseling and Education Center. And so the mission and the purpose has always been to provide affordable counseling to those who need help and cannot find it anywhere else, or that it's not affordable to them. And so it's continued for 40 years. We retired a couple of years ago, and during all that time, the foundation and now the ministry fund has provided us with support, financial support, and moral support over all those years. And so it's allowed us to see many people, some of the places where the office has been, and some of the services we provide has altered or changed throughout the years, but primarily it's been for families, for child therapy, play therapy, adolescent groups, and adult single, individual counseling. And the reason that we've needed financial help all along, from we're a 501c3 nonprofit in Colorado, and so we depend on donations, fundraising, grants, and so that's where the foundation comes in. And currently, there are, in the first 6 months of this year, CEC has seen approximately 190 clients. That's that many different individuals, amounting to 1,555 sessions, and even more hours, because some of those sessions were more than an hour. And 136 are adults and 52 were children, either child therapy alone or with a parent or as family. And so and most 95% of those people are on Medicaid. And the reason that CEC needs help is because there is an institution in Grand Junction that has the state Medicaid. They're the umbrella for it. They get to decide who they're going to allow to be providers. And so at this particular time, there's only one Medicaid provider that we can charge for sessions. The rest of them all depend on, we can't charge the people who come because it's a government-funded federal agency, Medicaid is. And so if they have Medicaid, we can't charge them. And so we can't even charge on a sliding scale if they have Medicaid.
We never turn anybody away. Nobody is turned away when they go through the door. They get appointments pretty fast. If they don't get into the Medicaid provider hospital, really, they many times have to wait 3 months for an appointment there. And we can give them an appointment within a week. So we've kept ourselves small, and over the years, we've asked the foundation for less money than we did when we first started, because CEC is well known now in the city, and people are more willing to help us, and the fundraisers work a lot better and are more effective and bring in more money.
They're very, very busy, you know that. They have about 30 clients per week. And as she said, at that place where the Medicaid, where they're the authorized Medicaid providers, they can't get people in people sometimes don't like to go there because it's a big institution. And so they just really feel really comfortable at CEC. And when Pat and I decided we were not going to be there forever, we do have a local board there, and we asked them, we told them we were going to not be there forever, and would they like for it just to kind of die down, or do they want to keep it going? And they were adamant that they wanted to keep it going because it provides a very much needed service in Grand Junction, and CEC is the only agency that is a nonprofit mental health counseling agency known to provide counseling no matter whether you can pay or not.
And so we do thank the foundation for helping us to keep it that way.
And we thank all the support we've gotten from all of our sisters, all of you, during all of these years. So thank you.
Hi, I am Denise Schmitz, CSJ, Margaret's sister, and I'm a part of the Norton Community Garden in Norton, Kansas. In 2012, I had a dream, and in that dream, God put it on my heart that I need to feed the people. And I wasn't quite sure how to do all that. So we worked at different ways of thinking of how we could do that, and then due to time confinement, I didn't pick that project back up until 2017. And a group of people came together and said, we would like to have a community garden. A twofold purpose, actually. One, to have an opportunity for those people who had no space to plant a garden, and one, to plant a garden and give back to the community in a way that we saw was necessary. We did a lot of work, did up our mission statement, started looking around for startup funds, and we applied to the St. Joseph Ministry Foundation to ask for help in getting it started because we virtually had nothing other than the raised beds. So we applied, and they were generous enough to give us the grant. And with that grant money, we bought all the things that you need to use in the garden, from hose to barrels to the lawnmower, all those things that are needed to help you garden. We had 9 people that actually ended up with raised beds, and they planted what they wanted to plant. They were responsible for taking care of those. And then we had an in-ground garden, which is what we planted for the community. And we planted butternut squash, and acorn squash, and watermelon, cantaloupe, tomatoes, and pumpkins. And not being a well-rounded gardener, we planted way too much of everything. We planted 10 mounds of pumpkins and 10 mounds of cantaloupe and 10 mounds of watermelon, and you guessed it, on the squash too. And when things started growing, boy, did it take off. God was very generous this year with the bountiful rains that we had, so our garden grew rapidly. We harvested the squash and the pumpkins and the watermelon, the cantaloupe. The cantaloupe and the watermelon we took to God's Pantry, which is our food bank, and they were most appreciative, and the people who received them were very generous in their praise and thanks for giving that produce to them. We took, we had cherry tomatoes that I had planted because I can't eat them now, and I had 15 varieties. So those went down along with the Roma tomatoes. They went to our daycare centers throughout Norton, the city of Norton, and they were appreciative of that. We shared our produce with Whispering Pines, which is an assisted living center, and Amby Home, which is a nursing home, and with the Senior Citizens Center, which allows senior citizens to come down, and they feed them on a regular basis, a lunch meal. And we put our produce there, and they were able to take some home for their personal use. Without the ministry's grant to us, we would not have been able to complete the Norton Community Garden. The real name of our garden is Norton Community Coalition Garden, but I just call it our community garden. We're looking forward to next year. We've had a lot of interest. A lot of people have come by and said, tell me about these raised beds, and they are like 4 feet high. So, those people, like myself, have bad knees and bad back, and have to get on the ground and can't get up from gardening. And it's right up your waist level, so you can garden, and it's just easy as all get out. I just love those garden beds. And so we will offer more of those. We now have 24 signed up for the 2019 year, and we have interest in both of the ground beds and asking if we could break out some additional land too for them to farm and put their gardens in. So we'll have to see about that. I can't thank the sisters enough. Your generosity to allow us out in western Kansas to have this garden, to be able to give back to the Norton community, and to allow people from the ages of 49 to 85 be able to have a place to garden has just been awesome. It is such a blessing, and without their money, truly, we would not have ever had a community garden. I hope this continues to grow, and we have to get a larger piece of ground in 5 years to accommodate everyone. Thank you again for your generosity. It is greatly appreciated.
Well, I'm from Turkmenistan, which is in Central Asia, and I'm 22 years old. And I'm a student in Delta State University in Mississippi. My major is English and Literature.
And how did you come to be here at Manor House?
My sister used to live here first, and I used to live on campus. And then after she graduated, after she left to her university in Nebraska, I asked sisters if I could live here.
And you were studying at Cloud County at the time?
Yes, and my major was criminal justice.
And your plans for the future, you've got some more studies to do?
Yeah, I've got 3 more semesters to finish, and then I'm going to work for 1 year. And then I'm going to go back to my country so I can work there, because my family's there,
Excellent. How have the Sisters of St. Joseph helped you here?
Sisters of St. Joseph, they paid for my tuition in university, which I could not afford. And those people helped me a lot throughout my years at Cloud County Community College. They gave me support, love, and it's like my family,
You have special relationships with the people here?
Yes, I do. I do have special relationships. As I said, it's like my family. And I feel like I'm truly blessed because I've got 2 families, one in Turkmenistan and one in the United States.
Some of the sisters don't know you because they're not here in Concordia. What would you like to tell them?
First of all, I want to thank them all because they are such nice people, and everybody who lived here, like girls from different countries, they all love sisters. And I don't know, I have so much words, but thank you for everything. I truly appreciate it.
Hi, my name is Alex Duran, and I am from Mexico. I moved to Concordia 10 years ago. I am in the DACA program. I recently graduated in cosmetology. I reached out to Sister Judy, and that's how I got into you guys' program. Right now, I am working as a cosmetologist at Ulta, and honestly, it's the best thing that, best decision I have ever made. They helped me with half of my schooling, and here I am. So it has done a lot for me. I was working 3 jobs, at a time, and going to school had opened many, many doors. So I am so glad I reached out to Sister Judy for this.